You know, probably the greatest of all time was the great Eddie Arnold. And what he did, what did he do special, Eddie Arnold? When he sang, you don't even know who Eddie Arnold is.
He was on Hee-Haw.
Shame on you. If he wanted to be on Hee-Haw, he could have been on it because he was one of the all-time greats. But what did he do unusual as a singer?
He yodeled.
He yodeled. But he could yodel really good. Have you ever heard it?
Roy Orbison does that sometimes.
Oh, yeah. He does this right here. Whatever, you know. Pretty woman, is that right?
Yeah. She was actually the longtime girlfriend of Elvis, is what it says.
Okay. So she wasn't married to him, is that right?
She was Miss Tennessee in the Miss Universe contest in 1972. She was from Memphis, so she was with Elvis for a long time.
You know, Sybil Shepherd, I think, is from Tennessee.
You know, I've been to Elvis's house. Have you been to his house?
No, I'd like to go there.
Boy, I tell you what, it needs a little rearranging. The taste that he had back then compared to.
Well, isn't that part of the attraction to show what the taste was like back then?
And of course, he had a huge mansion. I think he just had 8-foot ceilings. I'm not sure, but it was a beautiful place.
This is crazy to read because she was with Elvis for 4 years, and then she was married to Caitlyn Jenner. So when you say Caitlyn Jenner,
Caitlyn Jenner's a woman, isn't it? A girl, isn't it?
You got to realize that was Bruce Jenner when she was married.
Bruce / Caitlyn Jenner has been married several times. I remember when he was in the decathlon. Was that who he was married to then in 1976? I think he had some other wife then. So
they were married from 81 to 86. That's what it says.
So Bruce / Caitlyn, I think, has been married at least 3 times.
But now one of the girls is the mother of the famous Kardashians, and that was his wife. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenner, let me tell you, I'd tell anybody. I was a huge fan of Bruce Jenner. You know, when he won the decathlon and he represented the country so well. You know, who would have ever thought that it would turn out that way? You know, but. He was a heck of an athlete, no question about it.
It's going to be one of the more shocking transformations in sports history, I would say.
No question.
What you say, Rice?
Yeah. I mean, if he would go back to 1976 and tell everybody that guy that just won the decathlon and
would rather be a woman, is that right?
40 years is going to be a woman. Everybody say what?
No question about it.
I didn't even realize they were supposed to race at Talladega yesterday, and it got canceled due to the rain. That's how much I keep up with NASCAR.
Will they run it today, though? Let me tell you. Will they run it today?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to look and see.
Weren't they just going to allow 5,000 fans?
They were going to allow some fans? I didn't realize that either.
I thought I read that somewhere. I might be wrong.
Exactly right. We're coming to you live from our studios on South Brundage Street in Troy, Alabama. We're today in L.A. We started this show back in 1998, and we've been with you ever since, thanks to all our outstanding group of sponsors and great people.
Let me ask you,
bringing local television to Troy, Alabama.
When did you do your first high school football game? You remember what year?
Oh, gosh, I know what year.
It was in the mid-'80s.
Yeah, it was, because I didn't do the championship. We didn't do the championship.
No, y'all weren't doing it when I was in high school.
You know who the coach was when we first started? Was Fulkerson.
It's Fulkerson, yeah. So that was 87,
that one, my little brother was playing. Bobby was playing.
The Fulkerson, and that was probably
was that 87? What year was that?
Yeah, it was the mid-'80s, 86 or 87 at the time.
Bobby graduated in '86, and I think y'all were doing games his
senior year. And of course, Bogey and KT Cole, if KT's watching today, he was one of the first ones that he and I went out and started doing football, and Harold Freeman would go with us, and Bogey would go with us, and that's when the great slogan was about Bogey. What do they call it?
Bogey Vision.
Bogey Vision. And Bogey Vision started the TV network here at Troy Cable, and since then we've had many, many faces on our in front of our camera. You know, Harold Freeman, who was so innovative and such a great friend, and he's the reason we're all here today. But he always wanted people to be seen, whether it was in a commercial, in a parade downtown, or a beauty pageant, or a ball game, whatever. He wanted to put as many faces and by doing that, They call it, it's where Pike County watches itself, and it grew from there.
You know, I was in the newspaper business, and that's the same model. You put as many names and faces in that newspaper as you can, and you're going to sell newspapers.
Exactly. And let me tell you this, and I think Dick Freeman would say the same thing. I'm for Troy. I want to promote Troy on this show, and I want to promote people on this show, whether it's on TV or if I need to call the radio station to find out what the weather's going to be. I said, hey, we're going to call WTBF radio and get the weather, or something up to date. I've never had a problem with that because we're all in this thing together.
Growing up, we listened to the morning show with Jim Rowland every morning getting ready for school.
I listened to Pappy Thomas.
They had a movie trivia contest every morning, as people might still have it. And my dad would win the movie trivia contest about once a week. They might have had a minimum on how often you could win per week, but he would win it at least once a week.
And of course, it was fun, and the Pappy Talbot morning show. In fact, see, Harold Freeman and Bob Talbot were very good friends. Were in business together a long time. In fact, they started cable TV together. And then
this was Troy Cable. This is the second go round.
Then it was bought out, and then later on, Harold got back in it and everything. But Bob Talbot's morning show, the Pappy Talbot morning show, was quite unique. And tell me who his wife, his show every morning, he called his wife a name. Do you know what it was?
I wasn't living in Troy when we had.
He would say, and good day, Mrs. McGillicuddy, wherever you are.
Oh, I've heard about it.
And some of the songs he would play were he loved Ramblin' Rose, Ramblin' Rose, Ramblin' Rose, how you ramble, no one knows. That was one of his favorites. And then
was that when the radio station was next to Lake Lagoon?
That's right, the Lake Lagoon. And Bob Talbot was a good one to get started. My father-in-law, Roy Crow, for many years was chairman of the board of that radio station, and it's still going strong under the leadership of Dickie Gilchrist and some other folks, I'm sure. But Joe, you've heard that name, Joe Gilchrist? That was Bob Talbot's running mate.
We think Troy's got Troy Cablevision, which nobody else in Alabama has a cable company like this, I guarantee you. But there's very few towns that have a radio station like WTBF that give all the local coverage that they always have.
And, Joe Gilchrist was their engineer for all those years. And, of course, Asa Dudley is still living.
Is that same Gilchrist that started the Floribama?
No, that's that family. Yeah, sure is. But now, there was a Joe Gilchrist that headed up Floribama, and they were cousins. But it took me.
Would you say John Fulkerson was probably the greatest coach in Charles Anderson football history?
Oh boy, he was a Lou Holtz. He was a Lou Holtz wannabe. You know that they hired him at Troy. They hired him at Troy.
Bad teams. That was some bad teams back then.
Well, let me just say this: when they hired him at Troy, he had a great record. But you know what the record was? It was junior high football.
Oh my God.
And recreation football. That's the records that he showed the athlete. But let me tell you how he got his job. One Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey was so loyal to his friends, and he had hired this young man as a graduate assistant, Fulkerson. And when Fulkerson, I'm sure, went to Gary and said, would you recommend me for that job? Any quarterback club member or school board member, when Chan Gailey called you and say, hey, this guy's the real deal, you'd believe him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It did turn out that he wasn't the real deal, but he was a fine guy, and don't get me wrong, not a thing wrong with him as a person, but he just... But you know what he brought back to Charles Henson that nobody else has ever brought back?
What?
The lettering was Old English. The Notre Dame, have you ever looked at Notre Dame lettering?
Yep.
They use old, you know what Old English is, don't you?
I know that font.
Well, see, his hats and all of his logo was Old English. Do you remember that, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And that's why Lou Holtz.
They're trying to look as much like Notre Dame as they could.
Yeah, they sure were. Yeah.
Even though we probably look more like Syracuse.
But let me tell you this: we weren't real good, but we sure were pretty. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess that brought Jeffco back though, so it was a good thing in the long run.
Right.
That, after he was replaced, Jeffco came back, and at least Troy started winning again.
No question about it. And, you know, Charles Simpson is a strong and, of course, a great indicator, Rice. You didn't see this, I don't think, but this past week we had the two new head coaches, the new head baseball coach at Charles Henderson and the new head baseball coach at Pike Liberal Arts. They were both on this show. Did you see any of that?
No, I was busy giving breakfast to my kids.
And that was Rush Hickson and Chase Smart, and boy, they really represented themselves very well.
Man, that's gonna be quite a story watching these two young men, some of the best ever to play at their schools, taking over the reins and leading the programs.
Mike, was that on Wednesday or Thursday that we had them on that show? Do you remember?
Hi, it was on Thursday when Forrest Lee was hosting. My favorite question I asked was, what are you going to do when certain players want to transfer to Pike Liberal Arts, certain players want to transfer to Charles Henderson? I said, how are you going to handle all these kids leaving and going different places?
Yeah, did you ever get the answer on that? Have you heard of any other?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that they both said, that they weren't going to, they were going to try to keep the kids they've got, but at Pike Liberal Arts, you can bring in kids from anywhere.
I'm gonna tell you this. And I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings at all here, but what if Pike Liberal Arts would get out of the private school system, which has them traveling all over the state and all these long distances, and not but 3 or 4 real good teams in every classification. So the same guys are going to play for the championship every year. And Pike Liberal is sure building one in football. Has already built one in baseball, no question about it.
And basketball.
But what if they played Goshen, and what if they played Houston Academy or Brantley or Arrington? What if they played a schedule like that? How much better?
I think they could play with the Montgomery Catholics and the Montgomery Academy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And see, the thing about all of this is, they're a private school. They can still recruit. Yeah. Montgomery Academy recruits, don't they?
Well, I know it's been
and Trinity recruits.
There must be pros and cons to it, and I've talked to leaders out at Pike Liberal Arts, and I think it's come up, but I don't know how seriously it's.
All right, now, if we talked about the leading, this is good, a lot of fun. All right, if somebody asks you, tell me the 5 top private schools in Alabama, tell me who they'd be, Mike.
That's a good question.
You got Bessemer Academy, Glenwood, Autauga, Scamby Academy, and then you've got I guess Pike Liberal Arts will probably be right there.
But what I'm talking about, are the Montgomery
Academy.
What I'm talking about is Montgomery Academy.
And they talk about the private schools and the public,
public and private.
Academy and Donahue School.
That's right. Yeah, those guys, Michael.
We got St. Paul. They're private.
St. Paul's would be a huge one. You're right. That'd be a real good one. And name me another one.
Montgomery Academy's in the top 3 or 4.
How about that place outside of Huntsville that's so good? Madison Academy.
Yeah.
Is another strong one. Of course, Trinity's always a good program out of Montgomery. St. James
is a great school.
Catholic is a very good program. People, and you can go on and on.
You got Alabama Christian Academy. There's just tons of them in Montgomery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tuscaloosa is Alabama Christian Academy.
Yeah, and then of course down in Mobile, they're all over the place too.
Sorry, Tuscaloosa is American Christian Academy.
Yeah. And what if you had a team that came in with the great Mobile team that's so good? Right.
UMS
right.
St. Paul's. When I went to lived in Mobile before we moved to Troy, we briefly lived in Mobile between Opelika and Troy, and I went to Azalea Middle School, which was right next to Davidson High School.
Yeah. That's a public school there, yeah.
Going from Opelika to Azalea Middle School was night and day.
Yeah.
That was just a huge school that was awful, I thought. I mean, I don't remember one student or teacher from my one semester at that school. So the school was big, impersonal, not impressive. The teachers were going through the motions. But in my neighborhood, we had lived in a good little neighborhood in Mobile, and everybody, all my little friends in my neighborhood, all went to St. Paul's.
Yeah, that's right. The other great one is McGill-Tulane. That's probably the top one in the state of Alabama. When you say, Mike, McGill-Tulane?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Mobile?
They're pretty high. You know, Mobile Christian's become huge. You know, we're running cultural coaches.
That's right. And at one time, they were in the Alabama in AA, and they switched over. And
well, the private schools in Selma are historic in the AISA.
Yeah, that's Morgan Academy.
Yeah.
But I tell you,
you have to say Mobile's always been the hotbed of recruiting for the state of Alabama. There's always been more great athletes go to Division I out of Mobile than anywhere.
Yeah, no question about it.
Academically, you look at the graduates of Montgomery Academy where they go. Most of them will end up going to Alabama and Auburn, but they're sending kids to the Ivy League and Stanford.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's good academic, all that. But, you know, and we were just saying what Pike could do if they wanted to is build their program in the public school system, and I think it would be a super program.
You need to hear the coaching staff Chase Mark's going to have. He's going to have Sam Kitchens as the JV coach and coaching with him as well. And then his pitching coach is going to be the great Brian Meadows.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. What a staff. You're right. And they're going to be strong, and then of course, you know, no question about how strong Pike Liberal is going to be. But in fact, their baseball program, Pike Liberal's baseball program, I think could play at any level of high school baseball. Now, I couldn't say that about basketball. I could not say that about football or any other sport. But their baseball program is that good.
Yeah, they can play 7A public schools and beat them.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is tell DePonder after this year. We could have him on the show, and he's going to coach at Pike Road. They're 5A. I'm sure he'll probably say that he had more talent than Pike Liberal Arts.
Yeah, he probably did. And of course, we were already bragging rights last week. The young pitcher, left-handed pitcher at Pike Liberal Arts, is a 10th grader, is already committed to play at Auburn.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, now how big is that, Mike, to have a program that you got a 10th grader that's already committed to one of the top programs in the state, in the country?
I think the new football coach and AD's son's already committed to Florida State too.
Yeah. You probably on that team this year that we didn't get to see, but for a couple of games.
Oh yeah.
But don't you say that? Don't you think there were probably about 6 or 7 future big-time college players on that team?
Actually, Bill, they were 15-1.
They were 15-1 until you know when the season went on. I don't know exactly who beat them either, but let me just say this: they could play anybody, and it's just quality, and it's quality, and we're just bragging to the fact that right here in Troy, Alabama, if they ever wanted to make the move, you could have another outstanding high school program.
Well, the one thing
public school program right here in Troy.
It would set up games between Pike Liberal Arts and Charles Henderson in some sports, and then Goshen and Pike County High School that would draw a lot of fans, which would help their.
And these schools have an open door policy. I mean, you know, they're open to if you can, you know, but you have requirements. You know, all right, if your kid went to Montgomery Academy or your kid went to any of those other guys, they'd have to have a certain grade level, wouldn't they?
Well, Montgomery Academy.
Well, you got to have money too. Montgomery Academy is what, about $15,000 a year?
Probably getting close to it.
But what we're saying is, this is just something. If this school, whatever Pike Liberal Arts people wanted to do, they could stay where they are and win championships. But the competition would not be as great. But what if Pike Liberal Arts played St. Paul this afternoon baseball? I'd want to go see it, wouldn't you?
I think it would raise their level. They would rise to the level of their competition, and so they would get even better, and their brand throughout the state would get even better.
And
now that's the pro side. The negative side is They're a founding member of the AISA, and they've been very happy in the AISA, and it's been a great experience. So I can see both sides.
You know, and it goes back to the old slogan, or people say, "Be the best you can be." If they wanted to be the best they could be, they would drop out of this Alabama Independent School and go independent, or become a 2A, 3A school in the public schools. You know, to me, that would be a much stronger program. Wouldn't you say, if you were a 2 or 3A program in the public schools?
I don't know if they could go up to 3A. I think 1A or 2A is about as big as they can get.
But they would start. But I bet you it would, if they were to be as successful as that, I think they are. It would help them recruit other students, and they would, over time, they would probably get to about.
It would
3A.
grow. It would grow. There's no question about it. It would grow. The band program out there would grow. Everything would grow. No question about it, because it's getting bigger and better. But that's just a topic that I want to throw out there.
And at the same time, you would say who probably doesn't want them to do that is probably Charles Henderson and Troy City Schools, don't you say? Because let's tell the truth, is that they are competing for students and money. And that would...
that's right.
Yeah, Charles Henderson would probably drop back to 4A if that happened.
Yeah, but I will tell you this, though, if they did do that and go into the Alabama High School Athletic Association, they would still be a private school. They would not get state funds.
Right. That's
they would get this public school. I mean, private school funds, and the schools like the Montgomery Academies and the St. Paul's and the Madison Academies, and another big one we didn't mention was down in Dothan. You know.
Oh yeah, Providence Christian's huge.
Providence Christian.
That's Kenny Keith is the head football coach there.
Yeah, and then of course you've also got
they got Houston Academy.
Houston Academy is a big, strong one. But so what I'm saying is, it's a way. There are different ways you can go, and of course, evidently they.
I mean, you look back back in the day. So Bull Memorial Academy is no longer there. Dixie Academy is no longer there. South Montgomery Academy is no longer there. I'm just trying to think of schools.
You're right. Well, you're right.
Scott Academy is no longer there. It's now Lee Scott Academy.
Right.
And then you've got, I guess Lakeside is the only school that's still there in Eufaula.
That's right.
I can't think of hardly any other teams in their area. I think there's some new ones in Montgomery.
You still got Hooper Academy, still Lowndes Academy, or the old schools.
Macon East is a new one.
Morgan Academy. Yeah. And like I said, Macon East, a lot of folks in Montgomery have turned to Macon East because of the money it costs to go to the other schools.
Well, the AISA schools are much more affordable than these St. James.
And that's why a lot of folks are going to Macon Academy, because it's not quite as expensive.
With the economy the way it is, I don't know how families can continue to pay this $12,000 tuition, especially if you have 2, 3, 4 children at the same time.
Yeah.
God.
And of course, we look at Nick O'Brien, who walks on at Troy University. Outstanding defensive player, great shooter. He's not going to be on scholarship, but he comes right out of Pike Liberal Arts School. So Pike.
I don't know how people do it here, though. Like when you have young kids. I mean, when we were in Birmingham, we were spending $2,000 a month on daycare, preschool. I mean, you're talking about, close to $24,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just in preschool. So I mean, when you're young, I mean, we're not a young couple. I mean, young. We're an older couple, but have young kids. I don't know how younger couples do it.
I think there's a lot of grandparents that help them out.
Exactly. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back. This show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. They've got a tremendous sale going on right now. Remember, nobody beats a Premier price. Nobody.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Back to our show, and we're looking at the Pike County's has added 8 new cases as of Friday, the weekend, and right now, this was through the weekend. Pike County looks at 352 cases right now, Mike and Bill, and 3 confirmed deaths now in Pike County. 3. So there was 1 over the weekend. Pike is one of 17 counties considered Alabama's black belt, and those counties are seeing a significance in coronavirus cases. And a lot of this, Mike, has to do with being tested. Isn't that right?
Well, I mean, there's definitely more testing going on. You know, I mean, we didn't even talk about this, but the major news in college football is Clemson had over 25 players test positive for the coronavirus. So when you have 25 players, I mean, you got to quarantine those players for 10 days at least. Now I think you don't have to do 14 anymore, but you know, it's kind of scary to figure out what your roster is going to be like maybe in the upcoming football season when you know, I mean, that you can quarantine these players and tell them, hey, don't go out to the bar tonight, don't go to the fraternity house, you know, don't go do this, don't do that. But when college kids are together, they're going to hang out. I mean, it's going to be impossible.
Let me ask you, what are all these college kids, athletes doing that are on these campuses? And aren't they the only people on the campus because the other students aren't there?
Yeah, that's supposed to be the case. You know, I was out in the water yesterday, and my little girls always start talking to everybody, and there's a group of girls out there, and some of them went to Auburn, some of them went to UGA. And, you know, they're all, you know, starting school in August. But right now it's just faculty and and athletes basically on campus right now.
So they got the run of the campus. Are they just, there's nobody for them to hang out with except for their teammates?
But I'm sure they let them go to the, you know, restaurants and bars and stuff like that. I would think they would, you know, still be able to get out and about. I would hope so at least. That'd be pretty tough just being in your dorm room.
No question about it. Yeah.
That was amazing about Clemson. I think some of those were staffers or something, but most of them were players. Yeah.
But you know, the sad thing about all this,
if this is going to be like what we're seeing right now, you know, the second wave is possibly what this is, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe football and all this stuff maybe will be up in the air again. I thought that this was going to be, you know, definitely the numbers were going to start coming down cases, but I looked at cases the last 3 days, and the cases were back up to 25,000 when they'd only been at like 15,000.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But then the deaths yesterday, only 300 deaths in the whole country.
That is
like
good.
The lowest I'd seen.
You know, I thought at this point, y'all on the sports playing the games, can you name one high school, college, or professional athlete who has died from coronavirus?
No.
No. So, I mean, there hasn't. As far as I know, there has not been a high school, college, or professional athlete that, you know, from 1A high schools to, you know, Division III, the Division I colleges to all the pro athletes. So there's, in other words, there's really no health risk of anybody dying by playing sports.
Yeah, I know it. You're right. No question about it.
So, I mean, in all these cases we're hearing about, which they're all being tested now, every athlete walk on to the star is being tested, but 90% of them are asymptomatic. They're not even sick.
Yeah. You know,
I would say if you're going to get positive, go ahead and hope that they get positives right now, before the season starts.
You know, looking at some of these numbers, you know, Barber County has 265 cases. Bullock County has 318. Butler, and this is what gets me, this is Greenville, they continue to rise at 563. Also looking at some other areas near Troy, Coffee County has now 310. Conecuh 132. Crenshaw County now had 112. Covington County had moved up to 212. We're talking about number of cases. Dale County of Ozark 195. Just looking at some of those. Elmore County, this is the Montgomery area. This is one that scared me. Elmore County, we're talking about Montgomery and surrounding county. Elmore County was 633. This was as of Friday now. And then you've got Montgomery Academy, listen to this, with 3,106. Autauga Academy with 405. These are all counties that that come up next to Montgomery County. And the Tallapoosa County, that is over there near Auburn area. And but these counties that come up beside Montgomery, they look a little bit heavy. Right now, Montgomery is probably the most more cases than anybody.
So I wonder how they count that, because the Montgomery hospitals have had a surge, but a lot of those people in the Montgomery hospitals are not from Montgomery. They're from surrounding counties.
That's right.
That go to Montgomery hospitals. You
know, one of the lowest figures of the whole state is Geneva County. But, Mike, this will interest you a little bit. Fayette County now has gone up to 57, so they're starting to test in that area. Most of the time when you see this growth, it's because they're starting to test in that area.
That's simple, yeah.
And they're finding it out. I want to mention a very lovely lady, a lady that's been very instrumental in working with the retirees of Pike County, and Glenda Faison is retiring from the complex, and of course the amount of Colley Senior Center complex is going to miss her, no question about it. After 17 years, Faison is set to retire from the Colley Senior Center, and we appreciate all of her hard work, and she's the mainstay of that facility, and going to be hard to replace. Again, Glenda Faison retires from the Colley Senior complex.
Yeah, I saw where Holly White left is retiring as well. They had a little parade for her.
Well, I tell you what, they could have a parade every day and not take care of all that she's done for that facility. She is a wonderful person.
Let's make her our person of the day.
Yeah, well, I think we've already done it.
Yeah, I think, man, we already did.
I already did, because I know what a great job she's done, and all of these people, you know, gosh, what a great senior center Troy has. We were already talking about what a great library. Also,
the Johnson Cultural Arts Center has really become a great community asset, and Wiley White had most to do with that.
And then how about our unit facility that you can go in for $1 be fed today at the senior center? What a very active senior center we have here in Troy, too. It's amazing the facilities that Troy provides its people in Pike County, and we're appreciative. The situation say something this morning is Pike County schools are trying to make a decision on how they're going to operate this year. and I reckon everybody's got to take a look at it. And of course, Dr. Brazil.
I could talk about how it's been in, as far as preschool with us is, we drop our girls off, and we cannot go into the building whatsoever. And that's the same for any parent. But the teachers do not wear masks down here in Florida. And then initially when we first sent them back, they were taking their temperatures when they came in, but they're not even doing that anymore.
Yeah. Mike, we're going to cut our show short this morning, just only on Mondays, to allow my good buddy Hoss Daddy to move in here to have his show.
We're going to have some major issues with this come football season on Monday when we want to talk forever and ever.
Yeah, but, you don't reckon they're trying to run us off? You don't think that's the case, do you?
15 minutes.
Oh, in 15 minutes, they gave us 15 more minutes.
What can we talk about for 15 minutes?
Well, I'll tell you this: we opened up a can of.
I'm sure we can find something.
Well, do we open the can of worms with our Pike Liberal Arts theory?
And what I'm saying is this, and it's not a thing wrong with what Pike Liberals got right now, their program, but if they continue to recruit and bring all these athletes in, they're gonna extend their level of play, and they might better look at maybe going the public school route. It'd be a private school playing in a public school schedule. That's what we're talking about.
They haven't won a state championship in football since Gilcrease was there. Is that correct?
That's right, and they it'd be hard for them to win a state championship in football, but they're recruiting like that. If they continue to recruit and get the best players available in Pike and surrounding counties, they no telling what they could do.
They could compete in 1A and 2A in public schools right away.
And I guarantee you, and I don't think anybody will argue with you, the quality of football at that level in the private schools is not near as strong as say like a 3A program in public schools.
Well, you got to look at it like Troy looked at the move to Division I in sports. Does it help the entire school's brand? Does it help marketing? Does it help academics? Does it help fundraising?
That's right.
If they made this decision, they would look at all of those metrics.
No question about it. Academics, of course, comes into it too.
Like Luverne being 2A, that would be a pretty tough matchup in football for Pike Liberal Arts.
Yeah. What if they played Elba 1A down at Elba? That'd be a good one, but it would be very competitive.
GW Long would be extremely tough.
Pike County's a 3A, Mike. What if any of these schools had to play Pike County? Do you think they could stop that running attack?
Well, Goshen's 3A now.
Yeah, that's right. And Goshen would be another great one, though. Just think, what do you think how many people would go watch Pike Liberal and Goshen play? I think a bunch of folks, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think
Pike would rise to the level of the competition. Yeah. Maybe the first year or two they might take some embarrassing losses. Yeah. Might not, though.
And the first thing I would do is take the Liberal out of it. I would call it Pike Academy.
Yeah.
Pike Academy is going up against against Luverne tonight.
I'll say this: I cannot think of
Highland Home.
An AISA private school in a smaller town like Troy that has made the jump to the public school league. All the schools we've talked about are in big cities.
Yeah.
Dothan being the smallest, but Mobile, Montgomery, all the private schools in those towns, Mobile, most of them, they play in the public school league. Yeah. But you can't think of one, Lee Scott Academy in Auburn doesn't play in the public school league.
No.
Glenwood doesn't
but
play.
I know, and they're, but again, they have a different situation as far as if Pike Academy would do well in those leagues because they're bringing in so many good players, and again, they can recruit, and those other teams they're playing against can't recruit. How many people have said that about those Mobile schools? If you're a great athlete, you can go to any school you want to in Mobile.
Look at this. Would it make you, if you were considering Pike Liberal Arts, would it make you more likely to send your children there if they were SAA over AISA, or would there be no difference? A lot of people want sports. they just want their kids to be able to play and have those memories. And, you know, they probably don't care if they're playing, you know, Luverne or playing, you know, Macon East.
Exactly. And, of course, you know, a lot of it has to do with who's running it, who the coaches are, and are they going to get good athletes every year. See, normally with the private schools, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 good years, and then you might have an off year as far as your numbers go.
It's a numbers game.
So you're right. You would have to recruit at least 10 or 15 players a year to come to your program, you know. And it's got to be quality people, and you got to keep up with the academic part of it. You know, you don't want to recruit a bunch of thugs.
I'll tell you something.
You want good quality people.
I think I read that day, I think Pilot Arts had 36 seniors this year, I believe. I'm not 100% on that number, but I think that's the way the numbers I looked at. I don't know what that would be compared to a 1A school.
Yeah. Right now, it's a solid school. It's very good academically. They're getting kids are getting a good education. At least all the kids that I can remember that have graduated, most all of them have gone on to college, and that's very important and so forth. But one of the reasons a lot of this topic has come up is that they've hired a new guy at Pike Liberal, and it looks like he's going after athletes, and rightfully so. The rules say he can go after athletes, you know, and they're trying.
Has any of that been confirmed yet? That we know? If kids from Charles Henderson have transferred over?
No, I don't know who. I know, but I'm just saying is this new coach is recruiting athletes, and
it's Coach White, Mario White.
Yeah. And rightfully so. Now he wants to build a program and build it quick, and you go out and get a few good players, and you can do it. You know.
There's no doubt about it.
And of course, already baseball's as solid as anything.
The Rocks won the state championship that year. They brought in the Renfro kid to play baseball.
That's right.
He was a star player at Brantley.
Yeah, and he's already starting at shortstop for AUM too.
I'll tell you one advantage Pilot Blocks would have is people all kind of parents are making the public school, private school choice. But as we just talked about, some of these private schools in Montgomery are priced out of people's price range.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Pilot Arts is not nearly that high, so if they could offer people a quality private school environment and education and
with an open door
and sports program for, you know, a third of the cost, you might get people from Montgomery that come down to
no question about it.
Here.
And it's open door too. You know what I'm saying? We're providing education for everybody. You know that qualify. You know, so forth. You know, this is something.
A perfect example is Mountain Brook. You know, my wife went to Mountain Brook in Birmingham, and they became one of the most successful basketball programs in the state, in the southeast, in the country when Bucky McMillan was there. But how he won is he brought in players from all over.
That's right.
County.
That's right.
Star players from, you know, Hensley and Pinson Valley and all over the place. Programs from downtown Birmingham, Ramsey, stuff like that. I mean, he brought in all these players, and he brought in the best player from Shays Valley, the Wofford kid, who's probably going to go to the NBA.
Yeah.
Played for LSU last year. And
what I'm saying, you're exactly right.
How did he do that? How do you do that? I mean, they just moved.
He found them a place to live in Mountain Brook, which it's hard to find a place to live in Mountain Brook because of the cost.
Yeah.
But he was able to do it for several years, and nobody really talked about it that much. But it's been going on for even when my wife was in high school.
And I'm not saying that changing classifications or from the Alabama Independent School Association to the Alabama High School Athletic Association, it would be a big step for Pike to do it, but it's something they could do and do very well, I think.
I think they could.
But they would have to recruit. They'd have to recruit because, and right now they've got one of the strongest baseball programs at any level. Their cheerleader program now, you say cheerleaders, well, they've won the state cheerleader championship 7 or 8 years in a row, and people are going over there.
I bet they could build their band program more.
And have a dance group and things like that.
I think I got no doubt they could do it. Now, if they want to do it, that's up to them.
Yeah.
It's their school. They do what they
Exactly.
want to.
Man, what about their school in general, though? Their size and facilities, they have enough classrooms.
Well, they would have to add. They would have to add to it, and it would be a growth thing. And it's a good school.
Don't
It's
they
a
have
big
land that they could build on, and then the Walker
sure they
family
could.
give them some land? Or
I'm sure they have access
We
to
got
it.
some land near Troy University. Would that be?
Yeah, no, but no. Let me tell you this: they've got land. Don't worry about that part of it. You know, they've got that. Again, it's just something that we've thrown up today that I've heard mentioned now on at Pike Liberal Arts. I've heard some of the strong people in that school have looked at this same thing, and there's no question in my mind if they went to the Alabama public school system like a lot of them. Name me some successful schools, Mike, that we know have done this and been successful with it.
I mean, the biggest, that I know is probably Mobile Christian.
Yeah, of course, that's out of Mobile, and they've got several of them out of there.
American Christian Academy out of Tuscaloosa is huge now. They're like 4A.
Yeah.
They used to be a private school.
Yeah, no question about it.
I mean, there's definitely been different examples over the years. I mean, Madison Academy is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several have done it and have done really well.
Well, you look at Dothan, they're.
Cottage Christian plays a public school schedule.
Well, let me tell you this:
so it would be news if Pike did it because it's just a smaller town. But the more we talk about it, I think the pros would outweigh the cons long term.
Well, look at Dothan.
I think Pike played Northside Methodist, and now Northside Methodist is a public
All
school.
right, now that's your good indicator right there. Northside Methodist, a big, powerful school that was growing in Dothan, has already left the Alabama independent schools, and a lot of this has to do with scheduling too, Mike. That they were having to play Tuscaloosa in Tuscaloosa. They were having to play Morgan Academy in Selma. Those are long ways to go for a high school football game. And one of the things that they see that down at Northside Christian, the big school now that's growing and growing and growing in Dothan, is the scheduling of athletics and numbers. You watch, it'll be one of the bigger private schools in the state before long.
Well, who would also Pike will want to know who would they be in the same area as?
Exactly. And
would it be Ayrton? That would be good. I mean, would it be a good mix of the schools that they are playing?
Ayrton, GW Long would be very close to campus.
Oh yeah, see, those are great programs too.
And then you throw in Zion Chapel. I guarantee you compete with Zion Chapel and everything.
Exactly. Goshen would be another one. They'd be tough to beat, Goshen, right now, but eventually they would be strong. Cottondale down in the Mobile area, Cottonwood or what?
Well, eventually they would be competing with Providence Christian.
Faith Academy is another private
Faith
school.
is another big one. You're right. There was members that left and went to public school route. And, academically now, it's another strength there, too. You'd have to qualify academically to go to these schools. But, if I had a kid that was a great athlete and also was very smart, and a very good student, I would think it'd be offer some real benefits to go to a school like Pike Academy.
Like last year, Pike Liberal Arts got beat by Crenshaw Christian Academy. Of course, Wayne Grant's their coach, who's legendary. But then you turn around and you'd have to have Pike Liberal Arts playing a 2A Luverne. I mean, that would be a mismatch right there in athletics, I would think.
Yeah, you're right.
At the beginning.
And Zion Chapel would be tough to beat. It's a bunch of them to be tough to beat. You're right.
Briarwood Christian, my good friend Al Bracewell, his kids went to Briarwood Christian.
Yeah.
That's a great school.
They had no problem competing in the public school league.
And again, a kid that wants a good education, wants to be able to play football at the public school level, would be able to do that. And I think you could build a band program. I think you could build a lot of programs.
The cheerleading program would be a plus.
But again, now this is not state tax money. This would, if you did this in Troy and you started like a Pike Academy, these would be private school funds. This wouldn't be state supported.
I guess there's different guidelines to qualify for the AHSA academics, but I don't think those would be a big deal to satisfy.
And I'm talking about an open door policy too. You know, good kids, good school, good academics, good athletics. That's what you'd want to build, is a good school with a sound foundation, and strive to educate kids.
Think about when Troy made the move to Division I or even Division I AA. People said, "Oh, they won't be able to compete." Well, they could compete. I mean, they competed in football, obviously. Sometimes they got blown out, but a lot of times they won or nearly won. Baseball, they definitely could compete.
Yeah.
Basketball, they could compete. I just think Pike would. The harder the competition, the better they would perform. They would meet that competition level.
And they would be a 2A or 3A at the most. I think they're too big to be a 1A, I think. But you know what's so mind-boggling though, when you see that Elba is a 1A team.
That's crazy.
Who in the world wants to play Elba?
Well, they were.
Yeah, Payne Harrison, controversially was, kind of let go from the Elba program, and well, he's turned out that's probably going to be the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Best thing that ever happened to him. And let me tell you this.
Now he's at 5A Rehoboth.
Yeah. Let me tell you this.
5A Rehoboth. See, they were in middle school when I was in high school.
You're right. And watch that program under him. He is an excellent coach. It really is. And in my opinion, a very good guy. I've known him a long time. I'm proud of him. Ladies and gentlemen, we might have opened up a can of worms, but we're looking at the quality of education in Pike County. What if Pike Liberal Arts jumped into the public school system? Would it be a positive thing or a negative thing? I would think it would be a positive thing to have a 2A or 3A school out at Pike Liberal Arts and call it Pike Academy.
I think
Well,
so.
we can have John Ramage on tomorrow. He can discuss it.
And well, let me tell you this. And you talk about solid foundation. Those Ramages have really been strong people, not just for sports, but for academics. And Dr. Brazil there with the county, Pike County High School and Pike County School System, very strong.
The Pike's got a tremendous alumni base, and I mean, all Pike alumni are leaders in this community in all endeavors. So
this is
if they did it, they would put a lot of thought into it and measure the pros and cons. And
I don't know how we got into this conversation, but I've looked at it, just on an athletic side, it would definitely enhance their athletic.
But they
program.
would have to look at it total school.
But you want to look at academics and people that are right now Pike Liberal Arts. 90% of their kids are going to college and graduating from college.
We got 8:15. We got to wrap it up.
We will wrap it up, and of course we appreciate you. And of course, this is not the opinion of Troy Cable. This is just us looking at it with hindsight. What could happen here in Troy if enough people were for it? And again, they're a solid school in the Alabama Independent School Association. But is it growing with the tide? Like, what is the best in the best interest of Pike Liberal Arts School? Which way would it be? It's just a question mark out there, and I'm sure you get an argument on both cases. Hope you've enjoyed our show this morning, and of course we appreciate you watching. We appreciate our sponsors so much, and we'll be back with you bright and early in the morning for Today in LA.